So the other day when I was editing my videos and listening back to see if there was any mistakes that I made and needed to take out, I was listening to myself talk about how insecurities were a big factor that led towards Katie and I breaking up. And it got me thinking that when it comes to things that I've lost or things that I've had troubles with, insecurity has always been a huge problem for me. I've always battled with insecurities, and I can tell you a bunch of different places where they've come from. However, about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, those insecurities completely disappeared. And the reason why is I started making use of a process called seeds. Now, seeds is something that I mentioned in one of my more recent videos, and a lot of people were really interested into what it was and how I could help them make use of it. So today, I want to explain what it is, explain how it helped me, and explain how you can use it too. Now, seeds is something that I got from a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. It's a book that I read a little while ago, and I actually intend to do a video soon in the future about 5 things that I've learned from this book, because it's an extremely powerful and beneficial book. So I highly recommend it as a read, and I also highly recommend you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video when it comes out. However, one of the tools that Dr. Maxwell Maltz talks about is seeds. Now, SEED stands for situation, evaluation, emotion, do, and self-esteem. Now, a little bit of a background as to why seeds work before I actually get into how to make use of it. Most of the time, and you probably are a victim to this too, just like I was in almost every instance of my life, whenever something negative happens, whether it's small or big, we can quite often attribute it to be us as the failure, or to back up some kind of internal negative story that proves that we're not good enough, or we can't do something, or XYZ thing. A silly example, many of you may resonate, some of you may not, but an example could be if you're a defender in football and someone scores a goal against you, you feel like it's your fault for not defending. Despite the fact that there are multiple other defenders, a goalkeeper, this person may be an extremely good footballer, you still sit there and think, I should be the one that had stopped that. They scored because of me. This is something that we do an awful amount of the time, where we attribute something that's happened in the 3D reality to mean our downfall. It means that we're the problem. It means that it's our fault. Someone isn't ready for commitment yet because their previous person absolutely annihilated their heart. We take that to mean that we're not good enough for them to want to commit to. Things like that. I could give you tons of examples, and if you want some, I might even write them in the comments down below. So comment below if you want me to give you some more examples of where this may be the case. But the problem is we are very quick to assess this situation to mean that it's our fault, that we're the problem, we're not good enough, it's because we're not attractive enough, it's because we're not interesting enough, it's because we're not good enough for the job, it's because insert whatever self-defeating term. This is what I used to do a lot, which is why I had so much self-esteem issues and so many insecurities that led to different problems happening in my life. One thing as well, another little example that I bring to mind all the time, I absolutely love being a vocalist, and when I was younger I used to really enjoy rap, but my mum would always say that it was like listening to someone drone. That in and of itself is one of the reasons why I went into metal, because metal vocals are not as drony, they're a lot more difficult to do, and as a result you can have a lot more attainable sounds. My mum's one comment led me to believe that I wasn't good enough at rap, that I full on changed genre that I used to do. It could have just meant that she was having a bad day, and unfortunately I just was doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, but I attributed it to be me. So what can seeds do, or what does it do? Seeds is a way to get your conscious mind on your side, to not evaluate something as you being the problem, and as a result not recreating negatives, but also allowing yourself a more positive way of going forward. Now, starting with situation, the beginning of seeds. All you want to do, whether it's a negative thought, a 3D circumstance, a feeling, no matter what it is, anything that's come up that has you a little bit shaken, you want to look at it and look at it as an objective situation. So instead of saying I'm not good enough, which is why they don't want to be with me, look at it as person has said they're not ready for commitment. We don't want to attribute any labels to it. We literally just want to define it as a singular sentence to explain what the situation is. This, in and of itself, in any moment of negative, can actually be a very beneficial thing. Even if you just do this and not the rest of seeds, it may actually help you pull yourself back onto a more beneficial side. Because what we do often is we jump past the situation and jump straight to the evaluation. And often we're looking at evaluation from a self-defeating perspective. So we're evaluating a situation from already in the perspective of I'm the problem, therefore re-accentuating that. We're looking for more evidence of that to be truth. Whereas if we can take a step back and just look at the situation for what it is, this can actually be a very powerful thing in and of itself for you to not assign a meaning to it, not attach your self-concept or your self-esteem toward it, and help you go at it a little bit more efficiently. So that's the situation. Evaluate it, that's what the first step is. Look at the situation for what it is as nothing more than just this is what is playing out. Next we have E, evaluation. Now, this is much easier done once you've understood the situation. The reason being, we want to evaluate it for what it could be and provide other alternatives as opposed to immediately self-defeating. Whether or not those alternatives are true or viable doesn't matter in this instance. We just want to evaluate it for more than what we immediately want to jump to do. So using the example of your person saying that they're not ready for commitment. Before seeds, we probably would immediately jump to we're not good enough, which is why they won't commit. After seeds, we look at it as situation, they're not ready to commit. Then we look at it from evaluation and we understand some alternatives. They're not ready to commit yet because their work is so valuable to them that they don't want to take up too much time in a relationship. Or they don't want to commit yet because in their last relationship, they had their heart torn apart and they're scared of committing. Or maybe they're just as nervous about messing this up and getting their heart broken by us as we are by them, which is why they don't want to commit to us. Now, whether or not in the moment those feel true to you doesn't really matter. We just want to evaluate alternative possibilities to stop us from immediately jumping to I'm the problem. Because what most of you would do would say, they're not ready to commit, that must mean that I'm not good enough for them to want to be with. This then says, they're not ready to commit because of this potential reason, because of this potential reason, or because of this potential reason. And it gives you alternatives that you could get on board with. Because remember, your subconscious mind takes in what you assume to be truth and pushes it out. If you're pushing out stories of not being good enough, you're going to get more of that. But if you can have all of these other potential outcomes and reside within them and allow them to take your attention as a justification, it will not make you, or it will not put you in a position of pushing out more negative due to your self-concept or self-belief. So we evaluate the situation for more than what we immediately want a knee-jerk reaction towards. We look at other alternatives that don't relate to us being the problem. Then we have the next E, which is emotion. Now that we've understood what other alternatives there could be, now we want to adjust our emotions to match those alternatives. Again, using the same example, we would have jumped straight to not being good enough, and that would have made us feel depressed, sad, defeated, any one of those kind of emotions. Whereas if we can look at it to say, they're not ready to commit because they had their heart broken in the last relationship, we can now adjust our emotions, because your emotions are dictatable by you based on what you focus on, to maybe hope, because this means that if I can just show them that I'm there for them, they might open up to me. Or if I just live in the end, they're just going to open up to me. Or if I can just give them the space that they need to understand that I'm not going to hurt them, they'll open up to me. You start matching your emotions toward hope, calmness, understanding. You consciously will use these different evaluations, depending on which one you think is more viable and would rather reside in, to adjust how you feel emotionally. You're changing what your reference point is, therefore allowing your emotions to change. Instead of jumping straight to not good enough, therefore I feel worthless, you're now going, it's not me that's the problem, they've had their heart broken in the past, if I want this person, then I can be there for them, this gives me hope. So you want to match your emotions toward this situation. Next is the D, which stands for do. Very simple, but do something positive, something constructive, something end result based driven. Whether this looks like affirmations, visualizations, or doing something that makes you happy, it doesn't matter. The aim in this instance is to essentially do something that helps you move past this event. Because while we may have understood the situation, we may have evaluated it for more than what we thought it was initially, and we may have matched our emotions to it, there may still be that lingering feeling of they still said that they weren't ready for commitment. And I'm not going to lie to you and sit there and say that just by situation, evaluation, and emotion, poof, it's all gone and it's all pixies and fairies. You may still need to do something to help yourself just navigate past what was said. The first 3 steps are there to help you do this more effectively. So we do something. If you want to live in the end because it feels good, live in the end, affirm, visualize, script, whatever you want. If you want to just leave it at the evaluation that you've done and go and just enjoy the rest of your day, go do that. Go and do something that makes you happy. Exercise, go have a cheat meal at a restaurant, go watch your favorite shows, see friends, do something constructive. Because what does happen an awful lot is someone will have something happen to them. Using this example, person doesn't want to be with me, I now feel like I'm not good enough. Then they sit in a space of self-defeat, beating themselves up, spiraling, just all of these awful things, and they'll stay there and spiral and make things worse. This then re-accentuates how bad the situation is in their mind, therefore using it to recreate more of this negative stuff that they didn't want to experience in the first place. Whereas if you go this route, the seeds route, and then use the do section, this can be something to help pull yourself out of that rut before you've even begun. Assuming you've done it effectively and assuming it's something that resonates with you, which so far I've not found someone that it doesn't resonate with, the first 3 steps should be more than enough to help you out that rut anyway. But if you just need that extra little step, the do step is entirely for you to do whatever it is that you want to do. Anything that will make you feel better, anything that is end result driven, anything that is constructive, I recommend you make use of, because it will benefit your self-esteem, which is the next point. It will benefit your self-concept because you're no longer associating their words with your worth, and it will benefit your end result. Now, the final step, the last S, is self-esteem. You want to sit there once you've done your do section and show yourself that you were able to overcome a potential spiral. You were able to overcome a potential self-defeating situation. You were able to overcome negative thoughts or a negative 3D circumstance. And essentially, this step is there to build and inflate your ego. The reason being, your subconscious mind is listening to you at all times of the day. If you're associating your worth with their words, you're always going to be kneeling at their feet, essentially. Whereas if you do this technique, you've separated your worth and their words and found more potentials involved, therefore not using yourself as the punching bag for the situation. And this is where self-esteem comes in. We want to use that moment, use that time to show ourselves that we are our own best friend, that we're more than deserving, that just because they said that they're not ready for a relationship doesn't mean things can't change. We're amazing, we're special, we're more than good enough. And this is essentially where you want to inflate yourself to build up that self-esteem, to build up that self-confidence, and to build yourself up internally so that going forward, you know that man is as good as yours, or you know that job or that whatever it is that you're going for is as good as yours. This is seeds. Now, it sounds extremely long when I'm explaining it in a video, but when it comes to actually doing it in person, it's such a quick and such an extremely effective tool. Most of our problems stem from the fact that we are associating our worth with whatever the 3D is showing at us. And while things may be important to us, or things may sort of somewhat directly reflect our worth, in a sense of my YouTube presence is essentially based on how much people watch my videos, I can still make use of seeds to say, situation is, didn't get a lot of views. Evaluation, maybe that's just not the right video. That doesn't mean that I'm a bad YouTuber. Maybe it just means that it just wasn't a video that people were interested in. Maybe I didn't do the greatest intro and therefore people clicked off. That doesn't mean I'm a bad YouTuber. It just means that I have something that I can learn from going forward. You can do this with anything. I didn't get a job, situation, no job. Evaluation, maybe there were better candidates. That doesn't mean I was a bad one. It just meant that that person that maybe did an extra 3 years at university just happened to get the upper hand on me. That doesn't mean I don't deserve good things. That doesn't mean I'm not worthy of things. It just means that this person got the upper hand in this situation. Next time, I'll come back stronger. Next time, I'll be better. Next time, I'll be the candidate, the best candidate. And you can use this to help yourself go forward more effectively. Because by looking at other alternatives, you'll have a better picture on how to go forward. Using that job example as the example, or even my YouTube as the example, if I had immediately associated the lack of my views on a video to be me not being good enough, what would I have learned from that? All I would have done is defeated myself. But if I looked at it and said, actually maybe the intro was a little bit long, next time I can learn to do a shorter intro and make it a little bit more impactful so that people stay watching. If I understood that maybe there was a better candidate, I can then look at it and think, okay, I can improve my ability as a candidate by learning XYZ thing. By making use of seeds, you're quite literally giving yourself more to use in your arsenal. I really hope this video has helped. I really highly recommend you make use of it. Just give it a go. If you need help with it, let's say you've got a situation you can't understand how to use it, comment down below or drop me an email and I would be more than happy to give you an idea just to get you started. It's such an effective tool and I really hope you use it because I used it for pretty much everything that came up and now I sit here with more confidence than I could ever possibly have imagined a couple of years ago, and it is such a good tool. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're in need of one-to-one help, I do have a website which is linked down in the link tree below, which is in the comment section in the description. I messed that up. Down below in the comment section in the description is the link to my link tree where you can link the link to my website. I also have a monthly membership, so if you're in need of more help from me but don't want to spend money on coaching, down below in that membership is tons of things that will help you get your manifestation for a tiny, tiny price. So get it while you can. Like this video, comment on it if you've enjoyed it, and I will see you lovely people in the next one. Bye-bye.